Hello, hello. This is Ignacy. I'm back. Welcome to Board Games Insider.
And this is the Podfather of gaming, Stephen Bonagor. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 391. And we're recording this on October 14th, 2025. Board Games Insider, powered by Board Game Geek. Ignacy, good to see you. Hey, we're missing the intern. He didn't bring me my coffee this morning. What's going on here?
I heard he's visiting beautiful places,
Yes, he
as
is.
always, and we are doing a job. This is this should be opposite, right?
That's absolutely right. Corey is actually in Iceland right now, and due to scheduling, it was just hard for him to make it. Even though it's about this. I forgot the same time for him
I
as
think
it
it's
is
2 hours
two
from
hours
me.
earlier than Ignacy, but he was going to be out, so he could not make it. But he'll be back hopefully next week when I'm in Europe and everyone's in Europe. So I got to figure out a time to do that. But we'll talk more about that later. Ignacy, what's going on at Portal Games?
At Portal Games, Essen is going on. I believe when our listeners are listening to this episode, Essen just started. I think this is the time frame, right?
Day zero.
Yeah,
it's
yes,
it's the
something like
Wednesday,
that.
the Wednesday of Essen. Yes.
We will be in Essen at this point. My team is, of course, preparing, packing everything. So the frenzy time at the offices. Um, Luckily, we are ready with everything. I wrote a newsletter last week to our fans that I honestly believe that we prepared for them all the information about our new games on a silver plate. You have a watch it played video for Bohemians, you have a PDF rulebook of Bohemians, you have photos, unboxings, like we put all the information needed to learn about our new releases. So you can go to Portal Games website and check out absolutely everything about the game. Obviously, we are putting the content also on Board Game Geek. So we have a product, we have a ton of content for you gamers to discover it. And now we are going to start as an operation. And we will have a Bohemians, our main release at Essen, we'll have a new edition of Neuroshima Hex, our evergreen classic. We will have Age of Galaxy that was released at Gen Con earlier. We will have Race to Berlin. There are lots of, altogether, we have six new products. So these are lots of new boxes that we are bringing to Essen. We have, for the first time after a few years, we have demo tables. You can come and play Neuroshima Hex. You can play Bohemians. We have a huge team of amazing people. If you are listening to this podcast and you're helping us at Essen. I appreciate you. Thank you so much and see you very soon. So basically, I'm in a very good mood. If we recorded like 2 weeks ago, that would be full-blown Ignacy, Slavic Ignacy. But I was not here back then because I don't know if you know it. I was discussing it in a vlog. 2 or 3 weeks ago, Russia was doing military training next to Polish border with Belarus. So Polish government closed the border just in case. So the borders were closed. And this is the border when the train from China, this famous train that we discussed many times in the podcast, is reaching Poland. So our games for us and the rest to Berlin were stuck in Belarus because the whole border was closed. I was really terrified. My whole logistic team was like, "Oh my God, we will not have these games." Luckily, the military training was stopped, and Poland opened the border last week, and the train immediately reached Poland, and we have these games. But as I said, 2 weeks ago, I was not in the best mood ever. Always something. I think this is every publisher would have should have a T-shirt that says "always something,"
You're
because there's
not
always
kidding.
something.
You're not kidding. And that train, we want to let's give a little bit of color because it's a very
Yeah,
interesting item from the residual from
this
the
is
Cold War.
big politics meeting board game industry. This is
Yeah.
crazy.
So you are the only country that is, a Western country, right? You're affiliated
Yep.
directly with the West where trains from China can go, right? They don't go to Germany or France or
We
Italy.
are
They don't
European
go to
hub
Central
for
Europe.
that.
And the reason was, of course, you were part of the Soviet Union, so to speak, at least occupied, and they built
Yep.
the train line there, but then the train line stopped because we didn't want trains that could potentially carry tanks coming
Yep.
into the rest of the world. So very
Yep.
interesting Artifact of the Cold War.
Yeah. And it was bringing the game called Race to Berlin, which is also fun.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. What else going on? Anything else?
Yeah, I think, guys, check out Portal Games website. I appreciate you support Portal Games, support me. Check out, we have six new products. I strongly and honestly believe that one of them, at least one of them, will be for your liking, will be for your taste of gaming. So either we have a heavy Euro Age of Galaxy, we have this silly, amazing game Bohemians, we have new edition of Hiroshima Hex. Check out our website, visit our booth, bring cookies, high five. I will be at Essen on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then on Saturday morning, I'm coming back to Poland. So if you want to bring cookies and meet me personally Thursday and Friday, I will be at the booth for most of the time.
He's most important convention of the year, and Ignacy can't spend the whole time there. He just he'll get sick if he spends any extra time. I don't know, something like that, right? That's what happens. All right, over here at the
And
Podfather. Go
if I
ahead.
just one,
Yes.
and I remember precisely last year ago, when Corey was looking for me at the booth, and you on our WhatsApp group, you texted, "He's there, but he's hiding backstage." Remember that?
Yes, because I wasn't
Because
there
this is
last year. Yeah,
because
first year
this is
I
how I
missed him
spend
15.
Essen.
So he spends Essen quite a bit in the back, but you can always ask for him. Drag him out there. Get him to shake your
Yep,
hand. Very good. Over here at the Podfather Gaming, as I talked about last week, we I just got back from the BGG at Sea Western Mexico trip, which was
awesome.
fantastic. All of those cruises are great. We were being chased by a hurricane, but the seas were as calm could be. We just missed a couple of ports we were supposed to go to, but we changed and went to a different port all along the western portion of Mexico. Good timing, good times all around. Obviously, as Ignacy just said, this next week is going to be Essen. I'm going to be flying out on Saturday, going to Amsterdam, Netherlands. And I'm going to be spending a couple of nights there with Zev and friends of the show slash friends of both of ours, Holger and Anders and a bunch of people. And we're going to be doing escape rooms. And I've never been to Amsterdam, so I'm going to check things out over there. Should be a really fun pre-Essen trip for me. And then, of course, once we're in Essen, you guys, I want to make sure you understand that the Play 2Z booth is in Hall 5, F115. Hall 5, F115. And I have scheduled appearances there so that anybody who wants to meet me and definitely meet me, come here. And I promise I'll give you a gift if you remind me. Sometimes I just forget they're in my pocket. I forget to give them out. But I'm going to be there on Friday, 12:30 to 1:30. I'm going to be there Saturday, 12 to 1. And that's it. Those are the two times I'm definitely going to be there, but I might be flying, cruising by at other times too. Zev will have a banner or a sign that has that information. But remember, Friday around lunchtime, 12:30 to 1:30, and Saturday, 12 to 1. Also, the Shut Up and Sip Down guys are going to be there on Friday, and Matt Leacock is going to be there on Friday and on Saturday and on Sunday, because of course he's going to be showing off and signing his new game with us, Animal Rescue Team. It'll be the first appearance of that, and it looks amazing, from the artwork, from the beautiful animals, from the cool toy factor of this game, because you've got little cars that can bring animals around to shelters. You've got larger ones that bring horses or cows back to a shelter. All of these things. You've got boats that can be attached to your cars that you can get to a location that has water. So it's really, really well thought out. So congratulations to Matt. We're also going to have, I believe, and I literally texted Zev as Ignacy was talking because I wasn't 100% sure. He just says, look at the front page of the website. I'm not going to do that right now, but we're going to have some of these games. Tales of the Arabian Nights, the remake of that classic from 40th anniversary edition of that game, Soothsayers, Twisted Trumpets, and Xenology. And I will, by the end of the show, try to figure out which of those games will be demoed and which of those games will be for sale there. But those are the big releases for Essen through the end of the year. So I want to point those out. Come by the booth, check them out as demo or as selling those games. Finally, after Essen, it's a couple of weeks at home. Thankfully, I'm going to need it. BGG Con not PAX U. I'm sorry. I picked the one that I'll have just fun at, not do business and work. So I'm going to BGG Con in Dallas, followed by making a trip directly from there to New Jersey for Thanksgiving to see mom and the family, followed to fly directly out to San Francisco to go to Corey's house out there and do some wine events, followed then to come back home. So there's this big circuitous trip, and Ignacy's just like shaking his head, like, how could you possibly do it? Yes, because I'm crazy. And then I'll be home for Christmas. Lastly, thank you for the Dogs of War support in the Shut Up and Sit Down Presents line. We ended up with over 2,500 backers and over $160,000, which is great for a small game, a $50 game with very few add-ons or anything like that. So thank you for that. You can still go over to Game Found, type in Dogs of War or Play to Z, and you can go back it late. It did great. People are loving the ideas of what we have there and the updates they made. And I'm going to mention, since I mentioned cruises at the top of this, I'm going to mention a cruise that Ignacy and Mary, I'm going to torture them to go on this. And Mary is like, of course, she's going to go immediately as soon as I mention. But the Podfather, the Cruise 3, going through the Panama Canal, a full transit. Ignacy, I'm calling Mary, like right after the show. You got to go. It's going to be from April 25th through May 5th, 2026. So you got time to plan this. It's a once in a lifetime thing. Cruise ships may not be able to go through the Panama Canal anymore at some point. Water levels are dropping. They may say only cargo ships and military ships are going through because, we're not, cruise people are not like important. I mean, in the grand scheme of the world, we're not. So do this with us. Net proceeds go to charity. So think about it. And if you want to find out all the information about this, you can go to QWYX. That's Jeff's website, QWYX, quicks.events. And that redirects you to tabletop events, and it shows all the cruises that he's ever done and the 6 that he's got planned already. And I do them all. But this is going to be a special one because it's my cruise, proceeds to charity. In the meantime, let's get to the event deck. All right, Ignacy. We saved. No, we're not. First, we got to do the news here. And the news is shorter than usual, which is pretty amazing. We've had so much news lately. Maybe
I
because
guess right after Aston, we will have much more, right?
That's correct. And you hate news, you hate business stuff. So, but our fans want to hear business. So let's talk about CMON here. There's a couple of things to point out about CMON. This comes off of Board Game Wire, our good friends there. CMON sold their global headquarters after suffering a $12 million first half of 2025 revenue slump. Charges some pre-order customers extra to cover tariffs. So let me read a little bit about this, and then we'll take some commentary. Financially troubled board game publisher CMON has sold its global headquarters as part of a fight back against heavy losses and is charging some pre-order customers extra to cover tariff costs it says it cannot absorb given our current financial position. By the way, we did cover that last week, that they were doing this extra charge for tariffs, and frankly, I have no problem with that. If you want your game and some government has now added tariffs, how could companies just absorb that, especially ones that are in trouble? CMON posted losses of nearly $7 million in the first half of the year and another $3 million across 2024, figures which dwarf the overall $4.2 million in profits it managed to make over the previous 9 years combined. That is staggering. The company has been scrambling to stem the losses since the start of the year, laying off staff, halting new game development and campaign launches in March, and selling off a string of IPs, including Blood Rage, Rising Sun, and its most famous and profitable title, Zombicide, in the summer. That financial battle has now seen it part with the global headquarters it bought in Singapore in 2017 to claw back about $2.4 million, although that total is still a drop in the ocean for a company which saw its revenue slump more than $12 million in the first half of the year. So, Ignacy, this is particularly not good news, as you can imagine, and it kind of affects you as well. I mean, I don't know what you can say or not say. Have you been in contact with CMON regarding the future of the games that you do for them in Polish?
Yeah, so of course, as we mentioned this in the podcast for many, many years, I'm a strategic partner for CMON for Polish market. I do most of their games in Poland. And of course, we are concerned about all these big news that are popping up in the news for the past
Sure.
9 months. So we are in direct contact with them. Of course, we saw some delays in production. So we were concerned that some of the games were supposed to, to go to print and they were not going to. They were not printing, and we were asking why is the delay was happening. But luckily, so far, even though there are some delays, of course there are some concerns. All the games that we are working with CMON for Polish market either were already produced for the Polish market, either are in production right now. So if it may be any comforting for our fans, for people who are waiting for the pledges, etc., etc., there is no single red node or red alarm on my cooperation with CMON. Like everything that we are working with them is slowly. I have to admit it is slow, but it's moving forward step by step, step by step. So I believe that we all in the industry are rooting for CMON because
We
they're all friendly
100% are, yes.
competitors. So we are concerned. We are sorry that they have a problem, but we're rooting for them. And once again, I see that they are moving forward with production of the game that they were supposed to produce, and no red alert from what I know about them.
Right, right. Their stock did go up on this news that they were selling their company, their headquarters, and
Yeah.
bringing in this revenue. But I hate to talk about it in the negative terms, and it's up 25% this year. But we're talking about from a low of 1 Hong Kong cent. That's 1/7 of a U.S. cent. So it's a really small amount that their shares sell for. It now, and the current price as of whenever this picture was taken, which looks like around the beginning of October, it's now selling at 2.5 Hong Kong cents per share.
Yeah, I believe that we are discussing like rather the trend is important, that it's going up, but
Exactly.
from the levels they are very slow.
Absolutely. Next news from ICV2 is very interesting. It's that the free comic book day has been acquired by a distributor. The fate of Free Comic Book Day, the preeminent annual promotional event for comic stores, has been resolved through its acquisition from Sparkle Pop LLC. From Sparkle Pop to Universal Distribution, the company is announced. So Sparkle Pop had grabbed, all of the Diamond comic assets. Universal, this is in the big that we've been talking about constantly. Or Universal Distribution, a Canadian company, grabbed all of Alliance, and that's the important part for us. So now Universal has also bought the rights to Free Comic Book Day, which is interesting. It's not their main thing that they do. They distribute board games and card games and other stuff. The future of the event has been in limbo since a bankruptcy filing by Diamond Comic Distributors and the acquisition of its comic-related assets by Ad Populum Company, Sparkle Pop. The Canadian comic and game distributor, okay, they do comics in Canada, so they're going to be doing something with them here. Universal Distribution acquired Alliance Game Distributors, the game distribution assets of Diamond, and is planning an expansion of its U.S. business in the comic category. So maybe they will be starting up their own comic distribution arm under a new umbrella, under Universal Comics or something like that. Very interesting. I'm not a comic book person. I never collected. I read very little, but I know that Free Comic Book Day was a huge thing, a huge promotional event to bring
It is.
people
It is.
into the comic industry. So, Ignacy, you are a big comic person. Did this extend out to Europe, to Poland?
Yeah. So
Oh,
every year in comic book stores you have these free samples of many comic books. So publishers are printing them and giving away for free. And every comic book store on the planet Earth is participating, giving away comic books to promote. This is a big thing. This is really worldwide event. And
that's
all comic
awesome.
book fans know that they need to go to their local comic book store and they will bring like a bunch of comic books for free because publishers are just promoting the whole lines. Of course, they promotion is to promote the long line. So if you get the first issue for free, then you will buy 20 others. But
Sure.
still, you get a bunch of free comics. And in Poland, the comic book stores also participate in this. So yeah, this is a big, big event worldwide.
Very, very cool. And I mentioned at the top, this is a very slow news week, but we had something and that would have been the end of the news, except that right before this show, I got this hot off the wire. Asmodee sent me a press release. They send press releases not to just Bonacore, but to to a lot of the people that are on their press list. And it's Asmodee announces the creation of Mood Box Games, a new studio dedicated to developing party games for the U.S. market. So this literally came out today, October 14th. Asmodee has announced this. Moodbox will craft experiences that bring joy, laughter, and connection through feel-good games that favor collaboration, social interaction, and conversations between players while remaining easy to learn and quick to play. This new venture represents a major milestone in Asmodee's ongoing commitment to expanding its strong presence in the U.S. mass market, complementing its already extensive catalog. So, what I get out of this is simply that they're doing something, and they have party games. I mean, they have Spot It is under the Asmodee brand. They have other light games. They're going to consolidate that and push those games into mass, but also have it adjacent for hobby gamers. And I am, admittedly, a very big party gamer. I love big player counts. I like bringing people together and laughing and having fun, maybe having a beer, Ignacy, with those people. So this is a good sign for me. I'm very happy that they're going to have a division, a studio they call them, an imprint that is dedicated to party games.
Yeah, this is great. I have unofficial, so I cannot share, but I have some unofficial knowledge about how the Spotted in Europe called Double is selling. We are talking really huge numbers. So there's a
Really?
lot. Yeah, so this is like a huge, like we are talking really, really big numbers of these Spotted games. And for the past few years, the Asmodee was doing Spotted with all the different brands, Spotted Disney, Spotted Star Wars, Spotted Lord of the Rings, and they just need more of these party games so they can then slap their IPs on them and
Sure.
sell these thousands games in the mass market. Great move, and they will produce great, silly, simple party games.
How did you find out about what Asmodee is selling, in Spotted? How many, you know their numbers?
We will discuss it after recording, okay?
Because I mean, Spotted is language agnostic, but I guess when they do sell it in different countries, the name on the box is different, right? It's in Polish.
No,
It's
no. In Poland, it is still called Doble. So
oh,
this
okay.
for the whole Europe, they have
And you're
the
not
one
you're
name.
not the publisher of it there or the co-publisher, right? They do their own, of course. Why not?
As
Yeah.
yes, Asmodee Poland is doing that. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Formerly Rebel Games, right?
Yes.
Yes. Well, that's all for the news this week. A small news week, as I said. But now we're going to get to strategy and tactics. And here in strategy and tactics, Ignacy, Corey and I have been putting questions that need you for them because it says, this is for mostly Ignacy, or this is, I need Ignacy on this. So let's go through this. I will read them to you, and just your opinion. I might add mine too, but your opinion is what their people are looking for here.
I'm ready.
Ron Graves from Canada, he's at Buckaroo, interested mostly on Ignacy's take on this as a veteran game designer. This happened during one of our games and it sparked an ongoing discussion debate. As background, we are all seasoned gamers that regularly play all sorts of games, including heavy Euros. We were playing Frosthaven, but the game is irrelevant to the discussion. Recently, during a session, one of the players picked up a loot token so that they needed to draw from the loot deck. They reached over and cut the loot deck in half and grabbed a card from the middle. The rest of us were asking, what are you doing? That player said, deadpan, drawing a card from the loot deck. This sparked a back and forth, checking the rules, a good-natured ribbing, since this was a one-off. It had not happened during any game that we ever played. Sure enough, the rules say to draw a card from the loot deck. The arguments were, if I pick a random card, it would say pick a random card from the deck. so the top of the deck. If it mattered where the card came from, it would be specific, take the top card from the loot deck. In our experience, take a card or draw a card had us taking a card off the top of the deck. This type of thing could obviously be avoided with the addition of more specific wording, but does it really need clarity? Ultimately, it really doesn't change anything. The card drawn is still unknown when drawn. So does it matter, Ignacy? Does it matter where I draw it from that deck?
Of course, it doesn't matter, but I believe that the question is about the general language in board gaming. And the question is if we have like a special language that we gamers understand. And for us, it's obvious if the wording is draw a card, that means that you take the card from the top. This is for us is we are
Yes.
taking for the granted. But
Yes.
actually, if somebody in the mass market will buy the game and he doesn't have the whole background of
Mm-hmm.
us playing thousands of games, he may be confused and may act weird. Quite accidentally, I have here with me notes for my new game that we are working for the next year, and I have words that are saying fluff, loot, event, robot abilities. What I mean by that, I mean that we discuss it in the podcast very often. Even if I'm a Polish designer, I use English words because gamers use the English word is our language, and I don't use fluff Polish word for the fluff. I use fluff because this is flavor text that we use on the cards. Yes, I'm not using the word Polish word for the events. I just made the note events. I
Event.
need the events, right? So we communicate on a very weird special language
Yep.
that we gamers understand. And if somebody from outside our bubble would listen to us sometimes, he would be really, really confused.
Very true. We do communicate, and the fact that we have a common language, even though it's, for a
But
very
yes,
small thing in our life, in the world, board games, I guess, stacks of them all over the place here.
yeah,
We
but
understand the
without
common language.
these our language, these rule books would be like so much more longer if
Hmm.
we have to explain every single bit.
Yeah,
So yes, we are using specific language, and these gamers have to learn what this means.
that's right. And in my take about cards in general, I have a very strong take on card randomness. And here's what it is. You know what Schrodinger's cat is, right? You know what that general concept is, right? I know you love cats, so
Yes,
you're very into
I do.
Schrodinger's cat. You don't know the state of the cat when it's in the box. It could be alive, it could be dead. It's a thought experiment more than anything. You don't know. What I call cards as they're being dealt, I call them Schrodinger's cards. They have no value until you look at them, right? Think
Correct.
about that. They have no value. So it doesn't matter who draws the first card off the top of the deck. If we're like, okay, we just had an action, all players draw a card. I was the acting player. I'm supposed to draw first. It doesn't matter unless the cards change. Like there's a level one, then level two, then level, that's different. But if the cards are simply a randomized set of cards, anybody could just draw the cards, right? We play a card, everyone draws from the pile to draw back their hand. It doesn't matter. So to me, this question is, doesn't matter. If this guy thinks maybe you didn't shuffle the cards enough, he drew from the middle. I think it's fine. I don't think we need new words. It's all good.
So how many times you had the situation at the table that, for instance, at the end of the round, player has to draw a card from the deck, yes, and it is a your round. At the end of your round, you draw a card, and then the player who was playing before you says, "Oh, I forgot about my card," and he steals your card because he says this is
No,
his, because it's important that you took his card.
I do not. I mean, I have maybe had that in the distant past, but I think most people think of it the way that we're talking about it, that it doesn't matter. They're randomized. We shuffled them. You saw
This
I
is
shuffled
was
them.
mine. No, no, this was
We
mine.
no, we don't do that. In fact, when I deal cards out, like a deal, like okay, everyone gets 8 cards in their hand or whatever it is. I just grab a pile and I send it over to that player. Another pile, I send it this way. I don't. I say like that pile is yours. That pile. I don't do it. I don't care. They're random. Schrodinger's cards. Ignacy, Severin Heiberg from Canada. He's at Frost00. That's 2 Canadian questions in a row. I see a lot of board game Kickstarters where the funding goal is between 10 to 20,000. I don't understand how someone could produce a game for that amount of funding and make any money off of it. I understand that some established game makers are setting a fund goal of 20,000 but expect to get over the $100,000 mark. And if they don't make $100,000, they can cancel the campaign. At those levels, at those funding levels, I would assume that I would not be making enough copies of the game for the price to really come down to a significant amount of manufacturing costs? Do these creators lose money? So this one doesn't actually have your name on it, but we can both talk about it. Ignacy, tell us about a goal is X, but we really obviously want to see more. What does that goal mean? What does $20,000 mean when we normally set that as our goal?
Does Severin wants me to say on the record that these numbers are made up?
Yeah, basically, he wants you to say on the record. But if you,
Severin, don't put me in trouble.
well, I can
Uh,
answer it if you don't want to answer it. I'll answer it, but
No,
go
come
ahead.
on. It's a marketing game. Like you guys, and this is brutal, but this is psychologically proved thing. If you see ad on a Facebook that says 1,000% backed, you will click this ad. If you see 12% backed, you will not see it as a successful. All the people who are on the Kickstarter or GameFound need a success story. So you will follow this campaign. So publishers in many cases put a lower than the needed funding goal just to advertise it as a successful campaign. And I said it openly and now I'm in trouble.
No, you're not in trouble because the fact is that crowdfunding has in the board game industry especially has for the longest time been a marketing event. Period. Full stop. Yes, we get money early. That's great. That helps cash flow because we have to pay for the games, including the artwork, including the shipping, including graphic design. Everything has to get paid and it lands in the warehouse. And then we start selling if we do it through a regular distribution channel. So this is simply a way of advertising, marketing the game. And also what those numbers kind of mean is you're picking a number that maybe will be your fixed costs, right? So what are the fixed costs of a game, right? You have X budget for art and graphic design and for logistics, all right? So and the printing costs. So if you can cover all that, right, and bring it in, that's great. But or you can do part of it, the stuff that you actually have to pay early, graphic design and artwork, and maybe and like the some of the printing
Video
costs
production.
or the molds if it's a plastics game, stuff like that. These things cost a lot of money up front. So you pick a number that's going to help you do that. It's common, it's normal. That's just the way it works. Okay. Marco Dobranic from Croatia. He's always given us good questions. Matto78. When will you invite Zev Shlasinger to the podcast? Do a little interview with him. Well, first of all, I guess this is for me, not for you, but we don't do interviews, right? I mean, what I could do is obviously interview Zev and then put it on my channel. But a lot of people have said, "Hey, can I be on your podcast?" And I always say, "No, I love you, but no, this is not the format. The format is for us to impart knowledge about the industry and ask you guys questions and be social with you." So if I do an interview with Zev, I'd post it on my channel. It won't come out as part of Board Games Insider, I don't think.
That being said, Zev is an amazing storyteller and he would be an amazing guest. Like he
That's
has
right.
so many stories from the past, from the beginning of the industry, and he can talk like he really talks super interesting.
And literally, he's been in the industry longer than anyone, basically. Anyone. He's been in the industry since the 90s. So not quite as long as people who worked at like Avalon Hill. Alan Moon worked at Avalon Hill, for instance. And some of those big designers from back in the day, Don Greenwood. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to remember some of the names.
But Zev was the guy who was bringing Agricola. He was bringing the whole German, explosion of the German games to America.
Yep, Richard Hamblin, another person who worked at Avalon Hill and was creating games there as paid designers. So it's so much knowledge in these guys' heads because of what they've done in the industry. Marco Dobrannik from Croatia again. He says, by the way, this question is from July 2nd. We are in October 14th. You're going to get your question answered very quickly these days if you post questions. Go post questions. We'll take them almost immediately. Question for Ignacy. Ignacy, he spelled your name wrong. Should he be doing that? He's got a T in there instead of a C. Is that a different spelling? Is that a Slavic spelling?
I think that he wrote it how it should be pronounced.
Okay,
Ignacy.
pronounced. Yes, okay. Ignacy. What is the chance for Helm's Deep version of Stronghold game? That's a very interesting question. Does does excellent Battle of the Five Armies from Ares Games scratch the same thematic gaming itch? I uh, we can both answer this a little bit, Ignacy. The short answer to this question is that I don't think that Battle of the Five Armies at all models Helm's Deep. It's not. I don't think it does. That I don't think it is. Stronghold, the original that I published, that Ignacy published, certainly without the IP, right? It was the Battle of Helm's Deep. Could we see one coming out in the future? Uh, well,
I
you
have a
never
I
know.
have a I have a funny story from the past, but
Okay,
this is like 10 years ago or something like
okay.
that. I had a discussion with the publisher many it was like 10 years ago. I was working on something to be honest, but it was never finished because funny story, the publisher lost the license before the game was done. So I never announced it because it was never finished. This is we discussed it in many times in this podcast. IP is a great stuff, but you don't have a full control
You
because
don't.
there is somebody who owns the IP, and that was the case. That on one hand, I had this very awesome task to discuss Stronghold in the Lord of the Rings, and then this publisher actually lost the license and it was done. And to forget, so I did my Dune game, I did my Witcher game, I did my Batman game. Maybe one day I will do my Lord of the Rings game. We will see.
We'll see. Let's put it that way. We will see. And Ignacy, Kurt van Hooiveld from Belgium, Vitruvian gamer, big fan of the show, big friend of the show. Ignacy, especially. Portal Games published a great football management game with 11, but are there any real good football? Yeah, yeah, talking about soccer games out there where you play a match that are satisfying because right because your game 11 is about managing the team, right? You're
Yep.
not playing the game. You're managing it, getting a football team together. I have tried many, even tried designing one myself, but none were really good. Is it even possible to create a board game that simulates a sports match in a good, engaging, and thematically sound way? Ignacy, you would be the expert at this, especially around football, soccer. Let us know.
Yes, I was looking for such a games for my whole career. I was playing so many different sports games, and to be honest, I lost faith. Like I don't believe it is possible to interpret the sport that is so physical, so emotional, lots of tension and running and stuff into the board game that is sitting at the table. And all the simulations that I played of any sports game always were changed into very tactical chess style planning, how you will move your soccer player or your basket player. So it is without the speed, without the hecticness, without the emotions. It always changes to the tactical part of the game. And actually, when you're playing sport, this tactics is not often very important. It's just who is running faster. The closest to the actual feel of a hectic and sports emotions for me is a Blood Bowl. It's a miniature game from the Games Workshop.
Right.
It's crazy, it's hectic, it's random, and you feel the things are happening at the pitch. And after playing Blood Bowl, I stopped searching or looking for another sports game because I prefer to just play sports.
And play and watch them on TV, I guess, right? I know
Yes,
you do a lot of that as well.
I do.
All right, so we had an all Ignacy strategy and tactics basically today. So I think we'll end it right there. And then
Yes.
when Corey's back here, we can, get the interns' knowledge as well for the rest of the questions. And now let's get over to play testing. All right, Corey, who is great to us, we got to admit, he comes up with all these great questions. He's just continues every week. He's adding more questions down there, and I'm amazed that he can do it. So, what do we have here? The question from we gave to you guys from last week was: have you ever practiced and studied strategy for a board game? So, before we even take the users' questions, Ignacy, have you done any of that? Have you actually said, you know what? I'm going to go out and look for stuff out there to the people, what people are talking about as the best strategy. Have
Yes,
you ever done it?
I
Because
have,
Corey and I did. Okay.
I have not.
Okay.
I know that this is a thing that some players are doing that. This is a very interesting case. Like I admire and appreciate person who loves the game so much that he wants to dig deeper and learn about strategies and look about other players what they are suggesting. So I appreciate that a lot. And at the same time, if I play against such a person, I feel like they are cheating me because they have, this whole help from the whole internet of different guides and advices how to play the game. So I'm not competing with him, but I'm competing with all the knowledge he got from the internet. So this is super interesting stuff. I'm not doing that. I prefer to learn myself, but I know that I'm not a master of gaming, so I will never be very good in gaming. Just learning myself how to play the game.
Right.
And then I will be crushed by somebody who read it on the internet how to win this game. Very interesting topic. I'm not doing that, and I would feel very weird when somebody just crushes me and tell me he used this strategy from Board Game Geek.
Um, I thought that a lot more people would be saying yes to this question that they did, but apparently it's a fair. I don't have the exact stats here. I'm just looking at some of the answers and skimming, but it's fairly even here. I'm going to take a few of these now. Maybe Ignacy, you can look as well.
Sure.
Jake, who's at Jake your editor. This is Jake Thompson. This is great. At Jake your editor. I think that's great. And it's a new BGG user account. So he never had an account until whatever a new user is. Thank you, Jake, for becoming a BGG user and being our editor. It's great. He said Mahjong is the only board game, and that is board game. Sure, why not? I've done this with. With most board games, I don't see much appeal in learning deeper strategies. While some do kind of beg for it, like Food Magnate, most I would much rather play casually. I get the urge to research much more with video games, but that may be just because I have more vested interest in their design, fighting games in particular. Adrian Patterson from New Zealand. Not really. The only time I tried this was when I was playing Root for the first time with a group who played it regularly. I looked at the strategy for playing the bird faction aggressively and put this into practice. It must have worked because I won and could retire gracefully from having to play Root again. Pretty funny. Anything you got there, Ignacy?
Yes, I have, but this is interesting too because he mentioned that he was trying to catch up with the group that already has experience. So he was not at the beginner level, which is very kind for them because playing with a beginner
Mm-hmm.
is not fun if you're experienced. So he was doing an
Yes.
awesome job.
Yes.
Um, Julian says also very interesting thing because he said, yes, I do, but only for a few selected games for which I wanted to play more competitively. So he is not doing it in regularly, but if he means Go, if he means Magic the Gathering, he does strategies because he's playing in the tournaments or he wants to just beat somebody. And as a side note, I can say that on my YouTube channel, Portal Games YouTube channel, my video in which I explain how to win Robinson Crusoe, the strategy guide, is one of the most viewed videos in the whole history of the channel. So a lot of people checked on my channel how to win Robinson Crusoe. I don't know if I helped them, but I tried my best to give them some advices.
Very cool. Tierce Gardis says that yes, assuming I have the time, anytime I'm about to teach a new game that I haven't played before, I will try to set it up and pretend like I'm playing um, each player to try to get a feel for it and work through any early rules issues. Okay, so far he's not looking up strategies. I generally find that far more than useful than watching how to play videos, which are almost always nicely edited so they don't show the less obvious little glitches in teaching and stuff like that. And that discounts any games in tournament settings, which I am participating in. I want to understand the rules fairly well. Don't get called out for any silly errors. For a while, I was playing a judge for Magic the Gathering, which comes packed with hundreds of pages of errata and FAQ that you really should be acquainted with, which definitely require a lot of study. Okay, so for Magic the Gathering, he certainly sounds like he has gone deeply in, but he was also being a judge there.
But with the CCG players, there's even another level when players are checking in the internet what is the best deck. They're
Mm-hmm.
buying these particle cards as a singles. So they are not even learning how to play the game, but they were just copying the best deck. and then they go to the tournaments with the deck that somebody else came up with this
Yep.
idea, which is specific, I would say.
Right. Right. Any other ones you have there? Or I'll just pick another one.
Gavin said what I was saying. He said, I've played some games often, and now that I have kind of picked up strategy to replying. So he was learning by himself. I think this is a majority of our listeners, majority of gamers are just playing over and over and over again, learning some tricks. But to go to Board Game Geek, go to strategy forums and read the strategy guides, I think is a rare.
There we go. There we go. So this week, again, Corey comes through for us, and he's asking this question. We're asking this question of all of you out there. Do you think new board games today are mostly light, medium, or heavy in complexity? And then I added, do you believe that there has been a drift in one direction or another over the past 5 years, over the past 10 years, over the amount of time you have been in the hobby? So, Ignacy, do you think there's a meta,
Yes,
so to speak, for the games that are coming out that they are really mostly light, medium, or heavy?
yes, I have a discussion about this even last weekend at the convention. I believe games changed in the last decade. I missed I miss middle wave Euros. I see either family-oriented games like simpler games, Asmodee style, let's call them,
Hmm.
which are a little bit too easy for me. And then I see these hardcore complex Euro games that I don't understand and they're terrifying. All these, Tricarions, and other stuff that are too heavy. So I miss games for my taste. To be honest, when I see the new releases, I see what my company is doing in Poland. I'm publisher of the games, and many of the games that Portal Games is doing these days are either too heavy for me or too light for me. So I see the change. Like we have
Yeah.
these two different markets: family market and hardcore gamers.
And I think that there's been a shift in gaming back. I've been in the hobby a long time, but when the hobby kind of was created with the Catan and the Ticket to Ride, when it really got going there, I think that we saw a shift going and going and going to heavy, and then all of a sudden, at some point, it shifted and it went lighter and lighter and lighter. So yeah, I think there's something out there for everybody, and there's a publisher for everything. But in general terms, since we have so many games, as you can see behind me, if you're watching, so many games, you can only play X number of heavy Euros or long campaign games. So less of those end up getting published on an absolute number, and more card games get published. Games you can play in 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes, up to an hour. Those are the wheelhouse, so to speak, for publications these days. Do they fit my style? They kind of do. I mean, I like heavy games, not heavy Euros. I like heavier games where I can really dudes on the map and beat things up and I like overproduced games a lot. But in general terms, I kind of gravitate to the light mediums, so I have no problem. And again, there's plenty out there for me. There's plenty out there for you, Ignacy. I think that,
Yes.
we are, we're living in a tremendous time where there's plenty out there from the past that you can go get, and there's plenty out there in the future that, present and future that you're going to be able to buy. All good stuff. So right now, Ignacy, if he remembers how to do this, he's going to create a new
I do my
thread.
best.
He's going to create a new thread on Board Game Geek, and then he's going to put the link to that thread right here in the show notes so that we can click on it next week. So we want you to go over to the guild on Board Game Geek, find the thread with this question and answer it, because we want to hear what you guys think about games that are coming out today. Do they meet your taste too? Whether they lighter, has it changed, and whether they meet your taste. This is good stuff. Thank you, Corey, for the question. But in the meantime, we're gonna go to final scoring. Thank you all so much for listening, and help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. If you want to be part of this podcast, you can go over to the guild. Make sure you're a member. Ask us questions for the strategy and tactics segment. And remember, we're only a couple of months behind now. Your question is going to be answered within a few episodes, really. And answer our question to you from the playtesting segment, which happens every week. So we might take your answer immediately. So please do that. It's real simple. You're smart people. You know how to do it. On social media, pick what you like. Wear the same handle all over: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, YouTube, at Board Games Insider, Portal Games US, Podfather Gaming, Dice Tower Dish, Play to Z Games, Above Board TV. Pick the one you like on whatever social media and go find us. Interact. You'll be talking directly to Corey, Steven, and Ignacy. Special call out to the YouTube channels Portal Games Studio, The Podfather of Gaming, and Above Board TV. And in person, we hope to see you next week in Essen. When you hear this, hopefully you're listening on time. You can come and meet me at the Play to Z booth during the times I mentioned. Ignacy, he'll be hiding in the back. You can go there and find him. Just ask somebody to bring him out, then he'll come out and talk to you. We'd love to see you. BGG Con after that for me, PAX for Corey. So you'll have plenty of opportunities before the end of the year. Thank you to Jake Thompson for being our editor. It's really great and answering our questions this time. And that great voice you hear doing the intro, the outro, and those in between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. And he can be contacted to do your voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Ignacy, did you put this thing here? I don't think.
Nope.
Okay, this is
This is
Corey.
Corey's.
So this is not
But
something.
I have
Yes?
one thing
Oh, good.
at the end of the show. I just want to mention that the Bohemians that we are releasing at SN this year, this is the first game ever designed and published by Jasper, design of the game. He will be with us at the booth. So I encourage all our listeners to just come up, approach him, tell him the game is amazing, make him amazing event. For him, is a big event for the first time game released at Essen. Is an amazing moment in the life of every single designer. So be kind to designers, be kind to the people who create these amazing games. Approach them, high five them, tell them you like their games. This is very nice of you.
And I have looked up the list of games that Play to Z will have in the booth because Ignacy talked a lot, so I had a chance to do it. So the answer is we will have, of course, as I mentioned, Animal Rescue Team there, and Matt Leacock signing for an hour and a half on 3 days. It's wonderful. Play with him. Get him to sign your game. Animal Rescue Team is going to be a hit. It's going to be our biggest hit. Absolutely. We have the return of 23 Knives, which has been sold out. We had crowdfunded it. It sold through the entire thing. It's coming back. That's going to be great. It's a social manipulation game. I love it. It's probably my current favorite in the Play to Z catalog. And then 3 brand new games that I've never seen because, well, nobody's ever seen it. Maybe Zev has seen the production of one production copy, and
Maybe.
that's maybe, I hope he reviewed it, Soothsayers, Twisted Trumpets, and Xenology. So check out the Play to Z booth, Hall 5, what did I say? 115. That's the thing, right? It's right up here on the, yes, booth 5, 115. Everybody, we'll see you at Essen or next week on the show. Bye now.
Bye. Recording has stopped.